Hello everyone, I am C. Mishra. So it's been a while. I was thinking of coming up to you guys about some testing videos. So today here I am. I have been involved with this test automation for over a decade now. And in the beginning, pretty much all my test automation efforts focused on automating GUI user interface like thick client application, browser-based application and stuff. But recently, API testing is something which drawn much of my attention and whole of the IT industry attention towards it. So now my time is being split approximately 50-50 between creating automated tests for UI applications and creating tests for APIs like REST service and SOAP and all this stuff. So the question comes here, guys, what is API? So before going into the API testing, we should understand what exactly API means for a beginner or a newly who wants to learn about this stuff. Okay. API stands for Application Programming Interface. So API is the acronym for Application Programming Interface. It enables communication and data exchange between two separate software systems. A software system implementing an API contains functions or subroutines which can be executed by another software systems. So where exactly from this picture you can clearly see the UI which we are generally interact with through a browser or any desktop application. There is a front end which you can interact and something will happen in the back end and the result will come and show in the UI, right? So actually the structure is divided, you can think of a three-layer structure over here. The first structure is the presentation layer, which is the UI layer. All the testings, Selenium, QTP, a lot of tools are available that deals with this UI layer testing. Okay, so once you enter some data and the data goes into the backend code, do some processing and get the data, get the output and show you in UI again. So in between there is a layer which is the business layer, or where the APIs are there, applications user interface is there, which is known as the API layer. Okay, so just forget about this GUI layer. So if you do start doing testing directly by bypassing the UI layer with this API layer and do a lot of testing over there by sending the request and response, that's known as the API testing. Okay, so why I'm talking about API testing today, guys? GUI testing is not the interest anymore. Yes, you heard me right. So it's not fair to put this term in this way, but I will try to make you understand, guys, what exactly happening. So you have to see the trend over here. So why exactly the market, the testing market, is shifting the attention from GUI testing towards the API testing and how it is moving. So you know, testing is a very big and important phenomena in software industries, right? So let's see what exactly the API testing is, and eventually you'll understand why API testing is very important for your career and why you should learn this. Okay, so as I was just telling, API stands for Application Programming Interface. Okay, so it's nothing but a collection of software functions and procedures which can be executed by other software application. For example, let's say today you want the details of how many flights are flying tomorrow from Bangalore to Delhi, for example, or let's say from London to Colorado. So what you do, there is two ways to get it. You go and inquire in the individual airlines, or simply call the individual airline's API. Okay, so there where the API comes handy to individual websites, or let's say Make My Trip, or whoever the selling the airline tickets, right? So what they do, they simply send the query to all these airline APIs by putting their query in a systematic format that they want all the flights leaving tomorrow from London to Colorado. Okay, and immediately the result will come to their server side, and from there they can pick it up and they display it in your front end GUI, right? So that is what the API comes into picture. Okay, and from API testing comes into picture. So what exactly API testing happens? So we do not interact with this user interface. We do not interact with this any other layers. We directly talk with the API and we test the business logic, the core function is working properly or not. Okay, I understand. Of course, there is still a high probability of chance, and it is also important to test the UI layer. Yes, I understand. But can you think, if you just test the business logic and the functionality, then what percentage of the testing left for the UI? You can say it is a 80-20 picture, right? So API testing is nothing but testing without UI front end. Okay, programmatically simulate data and control follow scenarios. Focus on functionality, not on behavior or customer experience. So you can tell, yeah, what is the look and feel of your product when you, at the end of the day, it is and you're releasing to the market. What the look and feel, how the customer will react. Of course, UI is important in that prospect. But if you'll think, your functionalities comes first before you'll think about the UI. So that is why I'm dividing it to a 80-20 picture. So why this API testing is more interested nowadays, where it was earlier? Okay, so it's because of few of the reasons. I will just discuss one by one. So you can see the API testing trend. You just go and Google it. You will see in the early 2000 or 2005, our GUI testing having the most important. You can see the blue line over here is represents the GUI testing, and red line is the API testing. Okay, and REST testing is also a type of API testing, which is in yellow line over here. Over the time, you can see how the GUI testing is reducing and the API testing trend is going up. You can see this mark over here in the year 2015. It's at the peak. But why this is happening? That is because of a couple of things. First, earlier people were using the old type of development model like waterfall or hybrid model. Now people are coming to agile practices. Okay, so in agile practices, they want the result ASAP, as soon as possible. So multiple releases are happening almost in most of the company. The high-tech company, they release their product every day. Okay, so if a code is being tweaked and the next release is ready within a couple of days, you need the result as soon as possible. So where the GUI testing is failed, because to run a whole regression suite, it takes almost 1 to 2 days to get the results, which delays their release time, right? But with API testing, as it doesn't depend on the user interface, so they don't have to deal with the UI part. They directly can test the basic functionality, and they can tell within a couple of hours that what the result is. So that is why agile practices is the one of the reason why API testing is trending more nowadays rather than GUI testing. But however, I cannot say that GUI testing is completely gone. No, but yes, interest has been shifted from GUI testing to API testing. So the After the trend, this is the one reason, time efficiency, which is one more clause why this is very important. Okay, API testing. Of course, language independent, because in API testing, there is no user interface. You can directly write code in any of your language, whichever is convenient to you, Python, Java, C#, Perl, whatever you want to do. And it also supports the XML and JSON request and response type of exchanging data, send the request, get the response. Just now I was talking about sending the request to a API to get all the flight from London to Colorado, and they will send a response that these are the flights whatever are available, and you can just display in your UI. So simple as it is. So it is, yes, language independent. Okay, unlike if you go with QTP, you have to learn VB scripting. If you go with Selenium, you might have to learn Java, C#, which is in trend. Yes, you can of course go with Python and C#, but API you can just, if you have an IDE with you, maybe Eclipse or a Visual Studio, whatever you like to use, you can just go ahead and write your code in whatever language you want to do, and your API will respond to that. Okay, that is why it is important. Yes, so this is the most important thing that I want to talk about, IoT, Internet of Things. This is the next stuff why API testing is in trend nowadays, because you can see nowadays a lot of devices are interconnected to a lot of other devices. My prediction, and if you'll see the trend of the software industries, in the year 2025, almost 50 billion applications will talk with each other. Okay, so for example, let's take example for your Google Map. It is talking with your what is the schedules, what are the train timing, what is the flight timing. If you have booked any flight, it is showing where you are going, how we are living, all the contacts it is talking with. So a lot of stuff is happening around. So Internet of Things is the next thing why API testing is more interested, because in IoT or Internet of Things, there is no UI. Everything is happening through APIs. That is why API testing is most important. And going ahead, API testing will be the trend. So now let's understand that where exactly API testing falls into. So we have heard of a lot of other testings, unit testing, pre-performance testing, API testing, UI testing. Recently, there is a book released by Mike Cohen. It's a good book, Agile Software Development Using Scrum. So there you can see he has introduced this pyramid, test automation pyramid. So if I'll talk about automation, yes, all other testing is important. I'm not denying to that fact. But if you'll see here, the API testing is in the middle block. So UI, the percentage of UI testing required at the top of the pyramid, which is the less. The unit testing is the most, because here all the developers will test their own single methods or functions by themselves by writing the code in their own IDE or whatever method they're following it up. So it will be done by developers. But when it comes to the testers and testing part, services, the API services that is being provided by the products to the end customer will be tested by the testers, and that's a big chunk over here in the middle part. You can see in the yellow block, which really plays an important role in the testing cycle. So that is why, guys, API testing is very important to learn. There are a lot of tools available in market. You can just go and see all these tools, and you can do that. Without tools also you can do that. So guys, let's come together and learn API testing. Okay, for the full course detail, see the link that I have given, the complete syllabus and course content in the description. Thank you. If you like this video, guys, give a thumbs up. Thanks a lot. Bye bye.